Over the course of the past 50 years, eating disorders have established themselves as an increasingly prevalent issue. With a mortality rate higher than any other mental illness, eating disorders are as deadly as they are widespread. Therefore, it is critical that this issue is addressed. The complicated origins of eating disorders can be best understood on a broader scale through sociologist C. Wright Mills' concept of the sociological imagination. Essentially, this means seeing eating disorders as a public problem or societal problem and not a personal trouble. When viewed through the lens of the sociological imagination, one important sociocultural factor has been shown to correlate with eating disorders and body image issues, and that is mass media and its consumption. The media has an undeniable link to body dissatisfaction. While eating disorders have multifactorial origins, their increasing rates and the rise of mass media, social media in particular, are too strongly related to be coincidental. Social media platforms illustrate the media's capacity to take already unrealistic standards for beauty to new heights. Furthermore, the prevalence of these ideals influences the masses to internalize them and accept them as the truth. Being bombarded with these messages as to what the ideal body should look like will inevitably affect individuals' mindsets, even subconsciously. Presented here are rather familiar images that promote the thin ideal. Most of us are inadvertently exposed to pictures like these on a daily basis. The previous images serve as an illustration of the media's influence on eating disorders and body dissatisfaction. Mass media undoubtedly promotes dieting and food deprivation as a lifestyle, a desirable one at that. The term diet culture was coined to describe this. In spite of all of this, the media remains the main source of information on eating disorders. Children and adolescents are particularly susceptible to these detrimental effects. It is no coincidence that these demographics are also leading consumers of this media, in particular social media. Shown here are two good infographics that explain diet culture's negative impact on our mindset. They illustrate the cycle diet culture promotes of fear, guilt, shame, and dissatisfaction, often for the sake of corporate benefit. Solutions to the correlation between mass media and its influence on eating disorders are indeed possible, but they must be put into effect immediately, especially due to the aforementioned high mortality rate of eating disorders. Social media and the media itself are not going away anytime soon, so therefore this problem will not be solved without direct action. In order to implement this direct action, more adequate resources are required for the prevention, research, and education on this subject. This will also aid in destigmatizing the issue and dispelling misinformation. Also, there must be federal support for better access to treatment for eating disorders. In addition, there must be national awareness of eating disorders as a public health issue. While the previously mentioned actions are also all essential, perhaps the most crucial aspect of countering the media's harmful effects on body image is education. Instead of perpetuating diet culture's myths and pursuing unrealistic standards of beauty, we must rewrite these societal norms. This education aids in dispelling them. Mainstream media and authorities on physical and mental health must promote the truth and spread information that advocates for the health and freedom of its audience. While the actions on the previous slide are all helpful, the most important of these, perhaps, is media literacy, defined as the ability to access, analyze, and create media in an authentic manner. Education in media literacy will alleviate the media's pressures to attain the ideal thin appearance that leads to disordered eating and body dissatisfaction. Key aspects of media literacy are realism, critical thinking, and evaluation. Realism is important because when we see unhealthy body-related images as unrealistic, we feel less pressure to live up to their standards. Critical thinking is important because consciously making informed judgments on the messages we see helps put them into perspective. Evaluation helps us incorporate our own knowledge and logic into our perception of images that promote the ideal body. In conclusion, while eating disorders can be best understood as a societal problem resulting from mass media, zeroing in on an individual level and promoting education on the subject can reverse its effects. Eating disorders are a devastating issue, but there is indeed hope if we actively counter the media's harmful messages.